Hi guys, welcome to another episode of our video. This is a post-race video from our previous third race of our Stage 3 STI time attack setup. On the previous race, which is our third race, this is the race for our Stage 3 setup for the car. We did well. We broke our record. We got a 143.5. And there were things that we improved on, and there are also things that we cannot improve without improving other stuff. The good things are the power is really good, delivery is really good, the cooling is really good now. But our problem is what I see on the videos, on the onboard videos, is when we are going into and out of the corner, and when we're in the corner we cannot consistently just step on the throttle because we're losing grip. The problem we have is the suspensions we have. Well, they are good suspensions. They were all-in road and track suspensions, but they just were not for what we want. So the biggest upgrade we have for the next race is not only the wide body but the suspension. So Thomas is going to talk about the suspension and what we got.
The biggest problem I had was, like you were trying to explain, going around the corners. The car has too much body roll because the suspension cannot handle the weight transfer. And because of that, you put a limit to the mechanical grip that you can get from the tires. And each time you go over the bump, because the car is so soft, then there's too much weight transfer in the car. And I'm trying to feather the throttle to try and keep it going as fast as possible around the corner without losing grip. But it's a double-edged sword because when I feather the throttle, I also do a weight transfer on the car. So I'm having to feel just how much weight transfer I can do before. So I still keep the power on going around the corner.
You lose the boost, so you also get a little bit of lag when you let go too much of the throttle. I see on the onboard video and on the data from the log that you are losing, I think, 0.5 to a second on the big turns.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree on that. I mean, even the long sweeper just before coming to the last corner on the track, I'm really having to let off there because there's just not enough grip in the car.
Your entry speed actually on our lower horsepower car was a lot better than what we have now because we're having too much power for suspension. So yeah, so what suspension did we get?
I've previously raced with a motion control suspension, which I found to be extremely good. I've had a 3-way before. So because of what we're trying to do in Australia and with all the aeros and all the upgrades and the extreme power that we're trying to get, I decided to go for a 4-way. Some people said that it's more complicated, and I tend to agree with them.
We like complicated.
Yeah, I tend to agree with them that it's more difficult to find the correct setup because you have more options. But once you find it, it's the car is on rails. So we need to do a lot of testing now, the next couple of events, and we probably also need to play around with the spring rates. It might be that we need even stiffer springs, even though we have gone from the all-in 7 and 9 kilos up to 14 kilos. We might still need more, but the only way we find out is by testing and look at the data and see how I feel in the car.
So yeah, now we have the suspension installed. Well, not finished, but we're finalizing the placements of the external what do you call this? The external canisters.
Yeah, the remote reservoir.
Yeah. So we have it installed. But we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the bodyworks. One of the first mods we did to improve the body of the car is this is our current diffuser, the various one. See, it's all torn up and shit. And this is the new one. Well, this is not the ideal one we want, but this is what we have now. So this is a bit wider, a bit longer, and a bit sturdier than this one. It also has more fins to guide the air out of the rear of the car. Yeah, we will be installing this instead of this. And also, the big thing we did on the car is the wide body. So this is a various wide body kit. We didn't paint it. It's wrapped in chrome blue. It's gonna have a chrome line there, but not yet finished. Also, it will have carbon fiber parts. It will have canards here and here. And then, yeah, this is, I think, 25 to 30 mm wider than the stock one.
On each side, yeah.
On each side.
Yeah.
So this is one of the biggest upgrades. Another upgrade we did was the radiator. So from a single row, we switched to a 2-row radiator. Right here. Only to pull up. There's a CSF 2-row race radiator with the air ducts for directing air in and out. So everything that comes through the front will go through this and exit the bonnet of the car. So that's another thing. Also,
The splitter on the front.
The front splitter will be changed to a wider one. It will be a wider splitter, wider than the canards. We also have some water spraying here, mist spray here under the car. We have 2 sprays. So we have 2 sprays for the car. And also we have new custom ducting for the oil coolers. We have a new set trap oil cooler it's double the size of the Mishimoto core that we have. So power wise, we're not gonna change anything. And that's about it for the van.
One of the things I wanted to have is inside the car, the seat. So we got this proper FIA approved OMP race seat. We're gonna have that installed in the car so I can get a 6-point harness on and I don't move around like I've been doing.
So this is what he was using. This is a regular reclinable bride seat. I had bucket seats, but he doesn't fit on them. So
I'm too fat. You could just say I'm too fat.
I had to use this just temporarily to make him fit. But now we have all these, the harness, the brackets, the seat rails, and this, so we're gonna fit it for the next race. But now we are gonna be switching to a wider wheel with a lower offset. So it's a 14 offset and it's a 18 by 10.5. So we're gonna use 295 30 tires on these. Or probably another CRS.
Okay, so underneath the car, we're making some additional changes apart from the suspension. This is to help stiffen up the car. So we're gonna get the 26mm Costco anti-roll bar installed. We already have a full set of customized suspension parts underneath and chassis parts, but they won't be here in time. So we're just changing some of them now as a part of the upgrade to help support the suspension. We will have some of the bushings here replaced, and we have already the special supports for the gearbox, for the pitch mount, for the engine support. So everything is fully solid. Competition mounts. What were they from Torque Solution, right?
You said it earlier, it's a 3-letter thing.
SPL. SPL, yeah.
From SPL.
Okay. So so that's installed already. And then when we go down to the back of the car, down here we will have the full set changed here, and here to be new SPL units with full spherical bearings, so they're completely solid also. That will help to stiffen up the car also. And the arms that we are changing up here will help us to give it a possibility for a little bit more camber on the car. And toe also, yeah. But we run a little bit of toe in on the back because it helps me when I'm putting down the power coming out of the corner, that I have better control of the car. So this is what we're doing to underneath the car. At the back here, if we start talking about the suspension, so we have the MCS suspension installed already. There's a preload spring here, so if we fly a curb or anything else like that, it keeps the spring in place. So everything is working optimal all the time, no matter what condition we're in. We can adjust the ride height of it here. It's actually a bit lower than the all-in suspension we had before, which will also help the handling of the car. And then we have remote reservoirs with quick connect couplings at the rear. So in the boot we will have the remote reservoir sitting, and on the remote reservoir we can do high and low speed bumps. For those who don't know what that is, if we're jumping a curve, that's a high speed bump. When we're going around a long sweeping corner where it's tilting to one side, that's a low speed bump. Then we have high and low speed rebound also, which is how the damper releases both high speed and low speed. So when you jump a curb, or if you go around the long sweeping corner, so it's basically an ability to fine tune the car, so we don't have any of those problems that we had before. And the same goes for the front, but on the front there's no quick connectors because you can get them up in the engine room and then put them there. The only thing you need to make sure when you put these remote reservoirs in the engine room, at least one of them is close to the turbo. So we need to have a heat insulation on the remote reservoirs there. It doesn't look so fancy. You can't see it says MCS 4-way, but it has a purpose, and it will help keeping everything working better. Anything you want to add?
Here are the reservoirs for the rear suspension.
That's with the quick connector here. Yep. So there's no bleeding of the system or refilling the pressure or anything. It's completely pressurized, and for ease of maintenance and
removal,
repairs, removal
and installation. Yeah. This is the oil cooler that we're upgrading to. It's a Setrab oil cooler,
34 row.
It's a lots of rows intercooler, and it should. The good thing about this is it will not only cool more efficiently than the Mishimoto one we had. The Mishimoto is also good, but it's not motorsports grade. So this is the real deal. And also this will increase our oil volume from this much to this much. So increased oil volume from the oil cooler, from the oil pan, IAG oil pan, and we are planning on the dry sump sometime soon. Hopefully by it's almost mid-year. Probably in 2 months to 3 months, we're planning to get the Roger Clark dry sump system for the car. So we'll get more volume of oil and a stable oil pressure, because the oil pressure we have now is RPM dependent, and that's what makes the dry sump better is you don't have the pan already. You have more volume of oil, and you can set the oil pressure you can set a base oil pressure even if you're not pressing the throttle. So it's really good for the car.
Normally when you do the adjustments on the suspension, for the adjustment you have a long tool with a hook like this that you then connect to the rings and turn them. MCS, they have this. I don't know if there's any other companies that also have it. It was the first time I've seen it. So actually when I got it, I didn't quite understand what this was for until I looked in the operations manual.
Yeah, they kind of look like sex toys.
Yeah.
But
these are to go in the holes in the rings, and then you have better control over them, and they don't flip around like the other one. Sometimes on the other one you put a lot of pressure on the little pin at the front, and then they break off, and then the tool is gone. So this is a much better system.
Yep. And that's about it.
Yeah.
So that's about it. We have exactly, I think, 15 days to go, and a lot of things to do. So
Yeah, we still have tires coming from the US and wheels coming from Australia, and there's a lot of things that has to
So we
come in
currently
place.
have no plan Bs. So all plan As, they have to work. Also our tuners, both our tuners are on holiday. We were supposed to dyno the car next week, but they're both gone. So they'll be back 5 days before the race. How convenient. But they're good. Speedworks Engineering.
Oh, they're extremely good.
Alright, so see you guys on practice day. Or maybe part 2 of this.